What's going on, guys? Today we're looking at the best cards in Twilight Masquerade, a set that is about 2 months old. So the prices for some cards have had some time to figure out where they're kind of settled at right now, and we're going to take a deep dive into what I think are the best cards in the set, the chase cards of the set. So let's jump right in, starting off with the biggest card. Obviously, it is Greninja EX. This card is the heaviest hitter in the set, and by a long shot. It's going for about $230, $220, $240 near mint, $200, $182 that's lightly played, $200. So just a couple days ago, you could get it for about $200, but recently it's even jumped beyond $200. And I know that on eBay and other secondhand websites, the PSA 10 copies of this card are going for about $800. So pretty expensive. And I think that we'll have some time to scoop this card up at a cheaper price. We're just seeing the hype and excitement uptrend right now, but maybe it'll come back down to the $160 to $200 range as this set continues to be printed. And there's, still a possibility of a reprint in the future. Maybe 6 months from now, we might get Twilight Masquerade reprinted because it is a pretty popular set already. So we'll see where it goes, but keep your eye out on it. And do not succumb to any of the hype. If you're thinking of buying this card, I don't think right now is your best bet. Maybe $200 if you really won this card. But I could see it coming back down to $160 easily. So the next card we're going to look at is the Carmine. The Carmine is the chase card for what we would call a waifu card. This card is pretty cool, but I just don't love the picture of the ramen. It just looks a little bit different from the rest of the art style of the picture. Looks a little too hyper realistic, but that's just my personal opinion with the art. So this card is going for about $89, $109, $89, $115, $105. So anywhere between $90 to $115 this card has been selling at for the past couple of days. And let's look at the chart. Yep, started out at $120, dipped down immediately to $84, and then jumped up to $125, and has kind of been in the range ever since. So we don't really know where this card is going to go. Is it going to go higher or lower? I definitely think it's going to go lower. I don't think a lot of the waifu cards, a lot of the trainer cards are that popular in the United States compared to the Japanese sets. But I could be wrong, It looks like it has this little nice uptrend going on for it right now. We could see another leg up, but I just wouldn't bite on this card just yet. For over $100, I don't think this trainer card is worth getting right now. Maybe pick it up in the $80 to $90 range, but still a very nice card from the looks of it. So speaking of trainer cards, let's look at Perrin. This card I think is even cooler than the Carmine card. I think it's cooler because it has a supporting card to the artwork. If you look inside the camera, you can see that there's a Growlithe inside the camera lens. And we're going to look at the Growlithe maybe a little. Yep, here we go. We'll bump that up. We'll look at the Growlithe right now. This is the Growlithe. This is the reflection in the camera of Perrin's trainer card. And this card is way cheaper. We'll get to that. But this Perrin card is going for quite the penny. And I think because one, it's waifu card, and two, it has the whole camera with the Growlithe thing going for it. But other than that, there's nothing really special to it. The background is just trees, green trees, and sunlight. And it's a cool card. Definitely is a cool card, but I think it's cool as a pair with the Growlithe. But it's a tough pair to kind of display to other people. So if you want to show this card off to other people, it's not going to look too great side by side because it's what's the word for it? It's like an inverted type card where, you're looking at Perrin and you're looking from Growlithe's perspective and, vice versa. And they don't really go side by side. So I don't know. I don't know if that point is getting across, but let's look at the data. $78, $85, $80, $78. Yeah, so pretty steady, pretty stagnant at the high 70s, low 80s. And some lightly played going for in the high 60s, $70. So this card is not really bouncing around all too much. It's staying in this tight range of $75 to $85 recently. But it probably, once again, will come back down. It hasn't even been 3 months that the set has been out. That's why this chart is not even complete on the 3-month chart. It still has some time to figure out its long-term price. We have kind of developed a short-term price range, but where is it going to end up long-term? So we'll figure that out, and I wouldn't jump in just yet. Let's just jump into the Hisuian Growlithe. This is the card that pairs with the Perrin, and by itself, it's a cool card, but when you pair it with the Perrin card, that's when it gets cool. I think that it adds, this card has a little added bonus because of the Perrin card. I think if this card just sat alone and stood alone as a Hisuian Growlithe without the Perrin card, it would just be a standard run-of-the-mill card. But with the Perrin, it's very cool. And, having the pair would be great. I would love to have the pair in my set, but, I don't think I'm going to prioritize getting these two cards over the Greninja EX or the Eevee or the Infernape. So let's look at the price data. $7, $8, $9.60, $7.22, $6. So you could get some pretty cheap prices on this. Maybe about $7 is a good pickup price. And I don't really see it really fluctuating below that. You can see it had a push up to $15 when the big hype cycle around like it being paired with the Perrin was kind of happening in late May. But it's since come down. And I think this card under $10 is a good pickup if you're going to hold this for the long term. We could see it come down to $5, $6 possibly. But, we're talking about a couple dollars here where I think if you like this card, it's perfectly fine to pick up. Cards under $10 are fine to pick up kind of whenever you want, in my opinion, as long as you're picking up a couple copies. If you're going and picking up, 20, 40, 50 copies of a card, you definitely want to get like a good price on it and every dollar counts. But if you're just collecting like 1 or 2 cards, then pick it up for under $10. So pretty cool card. Next is the Eevee card. This card, I think, is one of the most overhyped cards in the set. That's my personal opinion. I think it's a very cool artwork, but I think the price has just completely separated from the actual value of the card. So you could see in the 3-month chart here, it started out at $25. Then it pumped up to $47, where it stayed in the low 40s, and then it recently hit just under $70 for this card. And recently you're seeing sales for over $70, so $78, $75, $75, $78, $75, all over $75 for this card, which is, to me, crazy. I wouldn't pay $75 for a raw copy of this card. And I know the PSA 10 for this card is going for about $400, I think, which is insane. So I think that this is definitely an overhyped card, and I would highly recommend you to stay away from this card. At least in the short term. I do love the art. I really do. Who wouldn't love the artwork for this? It's very cute, and all the different types of Eevees in the picture, it's just very cool. But for $70 and then for $400 in a PSA 10, it is not that cool. There are other cards to be had than this Eevee. You do need to spend your money wisely in this hobby. So maybe a later pickup, but just, look out for the price, see what it does over the next couple months, and we can go from there. But we'll be revisiting this card soon. Next is the Kieran. I think this card is one of the most underhyped cards of the set. I think that the Perrin and the Carmine kind of overshadow it with the hype, but I think the Kieran is the cooler card. I love the Pikachus in the background, like boom, one there, one there, one there. The Teal Mask Ogerpon right there. There's just a lot going on here. I like the art style better. Like, I think this card is way better than the other hyped up trainer cards in the set. Recently, they've been selling for about $50, $61, $64, $50, lightly played for $37, $69, $65. So a whole wide range of prices, but for about a month, you could have picked this up for $40. And I think that's when, people were kind of sleeping on this card. And I think there's been some recent attention towards this card. But we'll see where it goes. I think, obviously, we're on the like a weird little spike up here for Twilight Masquerade. I wouldn't really pay it too much mind. I think it's going to come back down. Like I said, reprints are probably going to happen for the set. People are really liking Twilight Masquerade, and I think it surprised a lot of people with how enjoyable the set was. So just give it some time. But for $45, for $50, not a terrible card, because it is a really cool card in my opinion. So pretty cool. Next we have Lana's Aid. Lana's Aid is totally different art style than the other cards that we've seen. This is the cartoonish type artwork that we see on some Pokemon cards, and this is more of the art style that I like, that I personally like to collect in my collection. And you can see the what is that? The crawfish? Jeez, corfish. Jeez, crawfish is a real life crustacean. And then the Surskits, and is that a Whoopit in the back of them? But there's a lot of Pokemon going on the river. Lana hanging out by the river. It's just a very cool casual scene with a trainer hanging out with multiple, looks like wild Pokemon. So pretty cool. And you can see the price. Wow, look at this. $73 dropping to $34, and has just been dead in the low 30s. And cards are moving. This is a card that's selling on TCG Player. 34, 33, 33, 33, 35, 31, 35. This card is moving copies, but the price just isn't moving. There's probably not a lot of buyouts going on with it. It's just overshadowed by a couple of their cards, but the artwork is beautiful. The trainer cards, if you love collecting trainers, this is a great card to pick up. Rather than the Carmine and the Parent that are, very pricey. I think this card is, at a great point to pick up for in the low 30s. It's a very rare card in the set, tough to pull, and the artwork's stunning. So definitely check that out if you're interested in this artwork or trainer cards, or just completely the set. Next, the last two cards are Infernape and the Tatsugiri. The Infernape, this is a must-have card, I believe, in the set. It is a card that is slowly moving up in popularity, but it started out at $6, peaked at about $8.50, dropped back down to $5, and has been on a steamroll up to $10, $11. And just look at it. I don't really even need to say much. Just the fire swirling everywhere, the close-up on Infernape. The art is beautiful. I think this card is one of the best-looking cards in the entire set. And it is damn cheap. It is $10 for the card, and you can see people are buying, one copy for $6, 3 copies for $7, 3 copies for $6, 5 for $6. So people are getting great deals on this card. 1 copy for $20. That is not a good deal. $16 for 1 copy, 1 copy for $10, 1 copy for $7, 1 copy for $13. So a little all over the place. Some high price sales, but overall, beautiful card, a must-have in the collection, and a good price to pick it up at. So highly recommend this card. And finally, the Tatsugiri card. This just, screams sushi. I love sushi. I love the artwork of it. It's very abstract. It's simple and abstract, and it's an art style that we don't often get with Pokemon cards, and I just love sometimes taking a step away from what is normal in Pokemon cards and getting something a little different. I think the Tatsugiri really does that for me, at least. And you can see here it started out at $10.39, peaked at $16.75, and then has dropped since. And we're in almost at the lowest point of this card yet, $10.40, and it started at $10.39. So pretty much day one when this card started selling, we were at that same price point. Recent sales, lightly played for $10.39, near mint for $9, near mint for $10, near mint for $9, $12.50, $9, $10, $10, $10, $10. So this card is a great pickup. It's a beautiful artwork. The near mint copy is just about $10. So I think if you're picking up a couple copies of this, it's a great buy now price, especially if you're looking at the chart. But if you're picking up multiple copies of this, you definitely want to snipe some maybe lower prices in the $8, $9 range. And I think you can do that if you're watching these sales, if you're watching what's being listed. But overall, great price, great card. So just let me know what you think of all these cards and these prices. What do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are the 9 cards that I would recommend out of Twilight Masquerade so far. We'll see where the prices go for them. Some are expensive, some are cheaper, but in the long term, we'll see where we end up in about 3 to 6 months, where these prices kind of settle. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe. It all helps the channel, and I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much, and I'll see you later.